Next up, we are going to start the cost analysis page, and we're going to start with the KPIs. To do that, we are going to copy the KPIs from here and paste them here. And first of all, we are going to set the dimensions. The dimensions would be 162, 1193, then we've got 313 and 134. Yeah. The second thing is we are going to remove the number of projects and the number of tasks. So we have the total cost, we have got the total budget, and then we need to have the total budget remaining, which we are going to create. We type in measures total budget remaining equal to, that is total budget minus total cost. Yeah. And we are going to put it in here. Again, we are going to keep it to 0, and we have to set it to the thousands. So it will be something like this. In case if you want to bring these slightly to the right, what we can do is we can do a custom padding. We can make this, let's say 32. So this goes slightly to the left. Then we are going to bring in the budget utilization. We are simply going to copy this, Control C, Control V, and then we are going to set this position. This is going to be 126 and the width is 282, 1546, and it should be 170. For the text box, we will set it to 281. Sorry, let's set this one to 1546. Then we can set this to 281, and the vertical is 140. So the KPIs are complete. Now we are going to create the second column chart. That is going to be the monthly trend of the budget versus cost. So what we need to do is we bring in the combo chart, and then we have to create 3 measures which are going to be created from the monthly trend or the monthly analysis. So I've got this fact monthly expense table. We're going to create the budget, the cost, and the variance from this table. We go back to the visuals and we create 3 measures. Number 1, it would be total budget, but this time we will say monthly expense just to differentiate it from the previous total budget measure, and that would be sum of total budget, or maybe it's budget from the monthly expense, right? That's the first one. The second one we are going to create is new measure total cost, and that would be the sum of the cost, and that is from the monthly expense. So this is the one. Sorry, we have to create it like monthly expense, right? And then the third measure is going to be the color coding. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a measure, and just to differentiate it from the other measures, I am putting underscore color as the prefix, and this is for budget variance coming in from monthly expense, and I am going to set var underscore variance equal to total budget from the monthly expense minus total cost from the monthly expense, and return if underscore variance is greater than or equal to 0, then put this as 3e BBEE. Yeah, and this is one of the colors from our theme. Otherwise, put it as FB91A7. That is it. What we will do here is we will bring in the total budget monthly expense as the line axis and the total cost monthly expense as the column axis. And then we have to bring in the month column from the calendar table. So we bring in year, month, or we can say month name as the x-axis. Then we can also bring in the year at the top, and let's do some cleanup, which is resizing and removing the unnecessary elements. 320, and let's put it as 401. Yeah. Now what we have to do is we need to remove the title, the background, and we start with something like this. This looks better. Also, we have to arrange the month name according to the month number, and we are going to arrange it according to the year month name. So this is from January, and the sort axis, it should be ascending. Okay, so this one looks good. Now we need to do the cleanup for the x-axis. We remove the title. For the y-axis, we are going to remove the title, of course, and the values should be in thousands. That's fine. We are going to remove the grid lines. We are going to remove the grid lines from here. Yeah. And then we remove the legend. No, we will. Yeah, we can. I think we can remove the legend. And what we are going to do here is for the lines, we will set the color to purple. Okay, that's fine. And the interpolation type could be smooth. Yeah, this looks better. For the columns, we are going to write the formula, which we already wrote actually, which is the colors formula. Let me just minimize all of this mess. Okay, so we are going to write, in fact, bring this color coding. So here we can see that in any month, if the cost was more than the budget, then we have a red column, otherwise it's a blue column. One more thing, to make it less cluttered, we can increase the space between the categories. Let's say put it to 50. This looks very nice and clean. Yeah, we need to put the heading, but before that, last but not the least, we can rename the columns to, let's say, only cost, and we can rename it to budget only. Now we have to bring in we can bring in the heading from the previous dashboard, so we can simply click this, Control C, Control B, and we can say monthly trend of budget versus costs. Yeah, and the properties for I think these are fine. Yeah, so this one is done as well. Next up, we are going to create a bar chart and a map visual for the budget remaining by project type and the locations. So first we can copy this visual and we can bring it here. Then we can set its properties, which would be 243, 490, 857, and 401. Okay, so this is done. In terms of the appearance, what we can do is we can just make them slightly thicker. That looks better. And we can do the same with the map visual. We can simply copy this and we can paste it, and we can set the properties here. That would be 243, 476, 1393, and 401. Okay, now what we have to do is to create a dynamic measure which can be switched using a filter, and accordingly these visuals would be changing. So the first step for that is that we will create a table and we will call it as select underscore. This tells us that it's kind of a selection table. Cost analysis. So this is the name that I'm giving according to the dashboard here, dashboard name or the report page name here, and I'm going to call it key. The second one would be selection, starting 1, and I want to bring the cost first, then I want to bring in budget, and then I want to bring in budget remaining. That's the first thing. I'll just delete this. Okay, load. So we have one more table here. The next thing is that we need to create a measure which is going to switch this dynamic process. So I'm going to call it metric, and again, because it's a metric, so underscore metric underscore cost analysis bar chart, and I say if is filtered select cost analysis. Selection is the thing that we are going to show in the filter. Switch. How do you switch selected value of what? Of the selection. If it's cost, then show me the total cost. If it's budget, then show me total budget. And if it's budget remaining, should be a comma here. Yeah. If it's budget remaining, then show me the total budget remaining. Yeah. Otherwise, keep it as blank. And this, and show me the total cost. That is it. The total budget remaining, if we look at this, this is coming from total budget cost. Okay, so this thing is done. Now what we need to do is to bring in a filter. So we'll use this filter visual, and we will use the select, and we'll use the selection. We are going to make it like a drop down single select, of course it has to be, and then we are going to say that sort the selection according to the key. So the first one would be the cost. Let's put it something like effects of properties, and we put it like 45, 235, 1610, and 355. There it is. We do not need the slicer header, so that's perfectly fine, and we can place it on top of a shape. So we can say we want to bring in a rounded rectangle. It has to be a very small one, like 47, 273, and we can say 1592. Again, these are the positions, the vertical, horizontal, height and width and everything. This is something that I am bringing in from my file, but of course, like, you can simply click and drag and you can adjust them like that, okay? But because I already have these dimensions, so just to save the time, I'm doing all of this. So for this, we need to put the slicer at the top. For the slicer, if I select the slicer, I need to have the values and their background should be white. For the shape, we are going to put it so very light gray, even if I can get it even lighter. In this, there shouldn't be any border, and yeah, that looks fine. I mean, it's up to you how you want to adjust the corners, but maybe a 15%, something like this. Yeah. Now what we have to do is to switch this total budget utilization with the metric that we have created. So now we can see if we change it, our metric is changing. We do the same in the shape map. We bring this thing and now we can see that it's changing. However, just make sure that you are removing the filter that was already present in this visual. Also, let's have a look if we have any kind of filters here. No. So this one is done. What we need to do is to just write it as metric. That looks better. And we can do the same here. Metric. Yeah. The next step is to create the heading for this visual. So we will simply copy this. Oops. Yeah. And paste it. Again, the properties, it would be 55, 658, 857, and 356. And what we're going to do is we are going to remove, and for this heading, we are going to create one more measure. So that would be measure underscore filter underscore cost analysis selection. We're going to say if has one value selection, and the values would be selection, otherwise select a metric. Now we are going to bring it here, underscore filter cost analysis selection. That's the result is the budget. Yeah, save. And then we are going to say by project type and location. We're going to make it 11. Sorry, this is 14 and the color is this one. So I'm going to go back to this one, make it as 14, and the color should be this. That's it. Bold. So this one is also done. Next up, we have to build one table, which is going to be budget allocation and utilization and task completion. So it's going to be a list or a table of all the projects with the necessary details. We start by adding a matrix, and we have to add certain fields. Let's say project ID dash name. That's going to be the first one. And in the rows, we have project type. Let me just expand it like this. And then it's going to be task name. That has to be in the rows as well. and then it has to be assigned to. In the columns, we have to include total budget, in the values, sorry, and total cost, remaining budget, budget utilization, and task completion. Now let's set the dimensions first. Then we have to set the grid, can make it 15, and these will have white. Expand this. We'll set some of the basic things like the layout and the totals that have to be removed and so on. So first we go to layout and we will set it to tabular. That means that we can expand all of these fields like this. We are going to remove the subtotals like this, and then we have to set the column headers. So we set the background color to this one. Then for the total budget remaining, we have to include the bars. So we go to cell elements, total budget remaining, font color, as well as the data bars. We go there, data bars, and we set specific color. For example, this one would be 97D 8B9. You can select any color that shows a positive vibe. EE A2A2. For me, these colors are good. And for the budget remaining, we'll have to create one measure. So measure underscore color underscore total budget remaining equal to switch true, and here we say if the total budget is less than total cost, DC 1. If the total budget is equal to the total cost, should be 252423, and we'll follow the same if there is any other condition. So this is done. We go to font color, field value, and then we go to color, total budget remaining, okay, and then it's like this. So in case if I want to see where the budget remaining is less, so I can see that this is red now, so this is good. We'll do the same for the total budget utilization. So we go and we create another measure, color, total budget utilization percent. If it's less than or equal to 1, then you have to do 52423, else if the total budget utilization is greater than 1, we will do DC 1. Hence it's going to be 252423. So now we go to budget utilization, font color on. It has to be color budget utilization. Okay, now this is good. We are going to set the bars for the task completion. Data bars, positive. So positive bar can be, it should be slightly light color, so I would go for this one. And for the negative, I think this is fine. So the task completion would be something like this. Okay, this looks good. What we have to do now is to expand the width of the columns. So this looks better. Next, we have to place the text box here for the notifications. So the first thing, we will copy it and we will paste it here. And then we have to create some measures. So the first one would be the project with the highest budget utilization. Right click, measure, and I'll copy the measure. So this is the project with the highest budget utilization. Again, it's the same methodology that we use for the most overdue project name and value, or the PM with the most pending tasks or name, value, etc. So this is the first one. Then we'll get the one for the value, another one for the value, project with the highest cost. That's the third measure. And then the project with the highest value, that is the cost value in fact. And also we have to create one more measure, that is for the number of tasks which are over the budget. So that would be this one. Okay, so we are done with this. Now let's zoom in and write the notification here. So the first one would be value project with highest budget utilization name. This one, yep, has the highest budget utilization, which is, and then project with highest budget utilization value. Then the second one would be project with highest cost name is the project with the highest cost, which is, then we are going to add the highest cost project with highest cost value. That would be this. And then the last one would be, there are number of tasks over budget value, which would be this one. Tasks which are over the allocated budget. Now what we need to do is to set all of this to white, and then this one becomes this, and bold as well. What I would suggest is that we make all of it as 11, and we make sure that this is also 11. This is 11 already. So a couple of things are remaining here. We have to put the heading here, and then we have to put one filter. So we will copy this and we will set its properties. First we bring it here, then we set the properties 551131 horizontal 325, and it should be 695. What we have to write here is budget allocation and utilization and task completion. The second thing we need to do is to bring a filter here, and that filter we can bring from here, paste it, let me bring it here. Here what we are going to do is to put the project manager's name assigned to, and we have to make it multi-select. Yes. Okay, so that is all. In case if you want to link this filter only to this table, you can go to format and edit interactions and unlink it from all of these. In case if you want to keep it like this, it's up to you, no problem at all. So our second page of the report is also complete. Before we move on to the third page, which is the project timeline, we are going to create two tooltip pages. One is going to be for this project manager's table, and the other one will be for the budget allocation and utilization table. So let's get started. We are going to create a new page, and we are going to call it tooltip underscore assignee. We are going to set the canvas settings. First we have to set it to tooltip, and then we can customize it. I would suggest, according to my measurements, it would be 328 and 640, so it will be kind of big tooltip. And also we are going to make sure that we allow this page to be used as a tooltip. Then we'll set up the background for this. So we'll go to canvas background, browse, and it's going to be tooltip assignee. The transparency will be 0. So here we can see some of the boxes that we are going to use. Then we are going to copy the table to bring the photo here. So we are going to take the project manager table and paste it here. And then we are going to remove all of the columns except the blank column, which is the photo. So it would be something like this. Then we are going to set the properties. First here, that would be 119, 137, horizontal would be 21, and it would be 23. And then 119, sorry. Yeah, okay. And then what we need to do here is we need to go back. For the grid, we will set some things. For example, we will make the border 0, or just make it white. Yeah. And then this should be 0, and the global font size, that should be 8. Then we have to set the column headers. We will try to make it look like it's white, so this would be like this. And then we have to set the image size. The image size would be 82 by 100. And now you see that the photo is visible. Now if you want to test if this is working or not, because here you see a lot of different photos, but in case if you want to see if it's working or not, what you're going to do is to go back to the project board, and you have to go to general and select the tooltips on report page tooltip assignee. This is what we're going to set. So once we bring our mouse pointer here, we see only one photo. Right, so this is changing, this is perfectly working. The second thing that we need to bring here is the name of the assignee or the project manager. For that, we will create a very simple measure. We will come here, right click, new measure, and we will call assignee name equal to max with double X, and that would be top N1, because we just need one value from dim assignee dim assignee assigned to, sending, and we need dim assignee assigned to. So what it's going to give is just one value that will be for the selected. So what it's going to do is that it's going to give me just one value that is related to that tooltip. Okay, so click enter. Okay, now we will bring a card visual, which will be this one, and we will bring in the assignee name. We will make some adjustments. Height would be 50, 215, horizontal 158 and 23. Okay, the callout values and the category labels, we remove the category label and callout value is set to 18. There you go. We are going to use the card visual, which is the new one, and we are going to set some of the parameters, but first we bring in the budget allocated, budget used, which is the total cost, and then the budget remaining. Now we make the adjustments, general, and we are going to say 76. Width would be 458, so that's going to be a big one. 458. 458. Horizontal, that would be 158, and vertical would be 72. And now we have to set the callout values. That would be 15. We will put everything to thousands. And then we are going to make some adjustments to the labels. We'll make them 9. All of these 9. And then we are going to set the color to purple. Make it centered like this. And then we are going to remove the settings from the card. No accent bar, no glow, no shadow, no border, no background. That's it. And I think I need to set the background here as well. Here. Yeah, turn it off. Okay. So the last thing is we need to put some nice labels. Budget allocated. Then budget used. And then the budget remaining. This one is done. Now we need to bring in the donut chart. We will copy it from here. Paste it and set the dimensions. It would be 150, 264, 38, and 167. For the data labels, we are going to show only the data value. And for the slices, we are going to show not started with red, in progress, overdue, and completed, just like we are doing in the main dashboard. We have to adjust the legend, so we are going to set it as 8. And also I believe that the data labels should be smaller. They should be 8. Okay. What else we can do is that we can bring in the total number. So we will bring in one KPI card, and then we will bring in the number of projects like this. Then a couple of things that we are going to do with the KPI card is we will set the callout value to 20, and we will remove the category label and we will make it smaller. It should be 65, which should be 136. Horizontal, it should be 140 and 218. That is, we automatically place it somewhere here. And then what we have to do is to bring in the title for this. Yeah, the title is going to be projects. It can be in the center, and let's make it slightly smaller according to our standard, and it's going to be this dark gray color. bold. Now we can simply copy it and paste it here. Here we have to show the tasks, so number of tasks, remove the number of projects, bring in the number of tasks, and then the task status. So status, task status, there you go. And then what we have to do is to bring in the number of tasks here as well. So I'll go to format, selection, card, this card, no, this is the one, no, this is the one, yes. Instead of number of projects, number of tasks. So we've got this number of tasks, and here we are going to replace this title by tasks. Okay, so one last thing that I believe we should be doing is to ensure that we are sorting the legend according to the task status like this, and also we have to adjust the slices, because pending is this, not started, it should be like this, and then completed should be this. Okay, so this one is done, and once we come to the project board, let's minimize this. Once we bring our mouse pointer here, we can see that it's adjusting accordingly. And one thing that we have to do with this tooltip is to hide it. Our first tooltip is done. Next, we are going to add another tooltip page that is going to be called tooltip budget cost, and that is going to be for this budget allocation table. So we will call it tooltip underscore budget cost, and we are going to set the page information allow to be used as a tooltip. Canvas setting is set as tooltip, we set it to custom, and then we make it 220 and 290. Again, these dimensions are just according to my calculation. The next thing that we are going to do is to bring in the canvas background, tooltip budget cost, and set the transparency to 0. So we have this nice shaded background here. And now we are going to add the waterfall chart. So we will bring in the waterfall chart. What we have to do here, we have to show the budget remaining, okay? And that would be basically showing whether there is some over budget utilization or under budget utilization. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to bring in total budget remaining, this one, and then we are going to bring in the task name, because we are going to show it according to the tasks. We will make some of the adjustments. For example, we will remove the background, so effects, the background should be transparent. Title, we will name it as budget remaining, and we will call it variance, because sometimes if budget has been utilized more, like it's over budget, so it won't be called budget remaining, it would be just like variance. And we have to set it to dark gray, and we can make it 12 and bold and centered. I would go for slightly lighter, something like this, maybe even like this. Yeah, okay, this looks good. Then we are going to remove the legend altogether. X-axis, we are going to remove the title, and then for the Y-axis we are going to remove the title as well. We will make this 8, X-axis values at 8, yeah, and then for the Y-axis we have to set the display unit to thousands. Yeah, this looks better. The last thing I would do is I would set the data labels, and I will make them smaller like this. And since we are in the thousands, this is in thousands, I think this looks good. Then we are using it, we are using this page already as a tooltip, so this is fine. We go here, and here we select this, general, tooltips on, report page, tooltip budget cost. Now what happens is, let's say if I collapse the entire level like this, and I bring my mouse pointer here, what I see is that there's a lot of budget remaining. And what is this 47,000 made up of? It's made up of some of the budget that is remaining from roofing, foundation work, site survey, framing, etc. When I come here, I see, yes, 3 of the tasks, they are having some positive budget variance, whereas painting is having a negative budget variance. So this gives us a very nice overview for different projects. I see that this bar, this is very broad because of the text wrap here. So what we would prefer to do is to make sure that all of these are adjusted. Okay, once we expand the entire level, so this tooltip will not be shown, or it will not make much sense if we are already analyzing at the task level. But let's say if it's collapsed entire level, if it's collapsed, then it gives a very nice view here. So let's say here we can see that the main negative variance is being caused by the electrical work, right? So this is a very nice chart that helps us to understand the different variances. This tooltip is also done now. Next up, we have got the project timeline, and we are going to build a Gantt chart. On top of the Gantt chart, we are going to have some filters. To start, we have to import 2 custom visuals. We'll click on the ellipsis, get more visuals, and type Gantt. We import this visual, which is by Microsoft. And then we import another visual, which is called the text filter. This is also by Microsoft. We add these 2 filters. Now we'll bring in the Gantt chart, and then we'll insert some fields. So let's start with task status. That goes in the legend. Then we have task ID name. That goes in the task. Then we've got project ID name. That goes in the parent. And then we've got the start date and the earliest end date. So start date. And date. We make it as the earliest end date. Percent completion, we will go with the progress. Then we've got the resource, that would be the assignee who is working with the project. And then for the tooltips, we are going to show the project status. Okay, and that would be from here. Then we'll set the dimensions, so we'll go there, general, properties, height would be 792, 1533, 328, and 243. So it is fitting the window. There's a slight change that we have to make here. For the task status, we have to select it from the dim table. So status, that should be from this one. Okay, and now we have to make some adjustments. So we'll start with the legend. So here the legend should be at the top, and the color is fine. We'll put it as 11, and completed should be this color, in progress is this color, not started this color, and pending is this color. The category labels 910, let's increase this so that this width increases. I'll increase it to 250. 250. That's fine. for the task completion, that's okay. Tooltip, nothing here. Task settings, that's fine. Data labels, that's also okay. And date type, that would be, instead of week, we will have month. So now it does make sense. Switch off the title, effects, turn it off, visual border, that's all fine. Now we need to remove the grid lines, and for the grid lines we'll go to general, which is kind of a different setting as compared to the standard visuals, and we will turn it off. This looks like a very clean chart. Also, you can see here that the line representing today's date is also shown. A couple of things that we can do here is we can sort the axis, task ID name, and then sort it ascending. There you go. So 1, 2, 3, that's absolutely fine. And then we can also remove the legend title, so we can turn off the title. Now this is fine. We have to put the filters now. We'll bring in the text filter, and the first one will be project ID name. Project ID name. The settings for this, I'll just set it up like usual, 79, and that would be 320, 337, and 156. Okay, and we can see if we want to adjust text or something. So we can see here, yeah, this looks fine. And then for the title, I would suggest a smaller title, maybe, yeah, that looks better. And yeah, that's it. That's the first one. Then we'll do a copy paste, and this time it will be task ID and name. Yeah, so this is task ID and name, and then we will have two filters, normal filters like these ones. One would be project status, like this, and it's going to be a drop down. It can be multi-select, that's fine. The properties will be 79, 228, 1335, and 156. Yeah, and we are going to look at the slicer header, that's fine, and the values, I think it's better to have them like this. Okay, copy paste, oops, and we are going to set it for assigned to. We'll go to insert, shapes, rounded rectangles, bring it here, and set the color to something like this. No border at all, turn off the border. Shape, let's decrease it something like this. And then we have to set the properties. That would be 94, 513, 1324, 148, and then send it to back, format, send backward, send to back. There it is. For these two, we are going to remove the background, and for the values, we are going to put the background as white. We copy this and we paste, we bring it here. It's good, like this, format, send to back, Again, we select both of these, general effects, turn off the background, and yeah, that's it. In case if we want to make it lighter, we can go for very light colors, like maybe something like this. Yeah, that looks better. The last step is to put the text box. So you can put any text box. For now, I will simply copy this and paste it here. For me, this is fine. So this one is also complete. The last page of the report that we have is the project manager dashboard, and the starting point for that would be this table. When we go to the project board, we are going to copy this and bring it here. And then we are going to set the dimensions first. We go to format, general, properties, and then 795, 1510, 332, 332, and 242. After that, we have to bring in some visuals. But before that, let's do a couple of things. For example, we are still seeing this tooltip, so we are going to turn it off. General tooltips off. We are not seeing any kind of tooltips, that's fine. And then we have to bring in a few columns. So projects, we are going to put projects here. Overdue, we are going to bring in total budget. Total budget, that would be after overdue. And then we have to bring in the budget utilization, it's already there. That would be after this. And then we have remaining budget. So total budget remaining, we bring it after total budget utilization. We'll bring in the total tasks. So total tasks, or maybe tasks, number of tasks. Yeah, we've got it after the remaining. Yeah, task completion is there, but we need to have one more percentage. But it's okay. Now we start setting up the grid. We have plenty of space, so we can make it bigger like this. We are going to bring in 2 bars, SVG bars in this table. That is what I'm going to show you. But before that, I'm going to clear off the bars from task completion. So I go to specific column, in fact cell elements, and task completion, and I turn off the bars. Now I'm going to bring in 2 bar visuals, and for that I'm going to create 2 measures. I'm going to copy paste those measures, but I have provided them in the text file given with the video. We write new measure and then we copy it. Task completion, I think this is percentage, like this, yeah. And then the other one is total budget utilization. So new measure. And this is total budget utilization percentage. That's it. Let's bring them in. And before that, as we know that we have to set it as an image URL. So I click on the measure, data category, image URL, total budget utilization, data category, image URL. Now I bring both of these like this. First I will rename them and then I will resize them. Project manager, projects, overdue, total budget utilization, and then I'm going to call this as, let me call it like %1, and then I'm going to put it as remaining budget, total tasks, so it would be total tasks, task completion. I will remove the percentage sign and then I will put the percentage here. I'm going to make this percentage as well, but the reason why I'm not doing it right now is because I want to do all of the settings first, and then I'm going to set it as percent. If I set both the column names as percentage, which would be the same name, so Power BI will treat it as one when applying the settings. Okay, now I go to the image size and I set it as 45:125. Okay, so these bar charts are visible. I go here, I put it as percentage. That's fine. Now we are going to do some of the formatting, but before that I'm going to give the credit of both of these SVGs to Carrie Kolosko. She is the one who is developing all of these templates. You can visit her website at carriekolosko.com. We can go to the templates, SVG templates. Here you can find a lot of amazing SVG templates that you can import into your Power BI reports. So please do check out this page because it's really helping us to make our visuals better. So this SVG that we are using in our report has also been imported from that website. Now the last step is to set the column width. One more thing I'm going to do is to bring in the grid lines, the horizontal grid lines like this, and give them a width of 2. Let's start the adjustment of the widths. So this is fine. Project manager, projects, we can expand it like this and select specific column, yeah, projects, and apply to header, center. Then we go to overview, center, total budget. I would put it to the left. Total budget utilization, I would expand it a bit more and put it to the right, including the header. Sorry, not this one. Yeah, this one is fine. I'll go to total budget utilization and put it to the right, including the header. Remaining budget is fine. Total tasks, I would expand this, total tasks, and center it. That's fine. And then for the task completion, I would again go to this and put it to the right, including the header. Now we are going to put the title on the pages, on all the 4 pages. We'll start by selecting a text box and we will say hello user. Instead of user, you can put in the user login name. There's a different method where you extract the user's login name. We are not getting into that right now. We'll just put the heading, as simple as it can get, and we are going to select it as 28. Then I'm going to set its dimensions. Height would be 61, 569, and 307, and 39. Also, I'm going to remove the background. I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Here it would become cost analysis. Here it would be project timeline. And project manager. Another feature that we can add is the refresh time of the dashboard. So for that we would need one measure, and for that measure we need to create a table. So we'll go to the transform data and do a right click, new query, blank query, and here I write date time dot local now, and that's it. Yeah, so I've got this. Then I go to home, advanced editor, and then I will paste a script like this. Done. So here I get the last refresh time, which is today's date. So I will call it fact underscore refresh time. Close and apply. Then I go to measures table, new measure, last data refresh time equal to max of last refresh timestamp. Now I will place another text box and I'm going to write, here are the updates from, and then I'm going to enter the value last data refresh, enter. I've got this now, so there we go. It takes some time to come, but yeah, we've got this thing. And what we are going to do here is, and now we'll set the properties. That would be 45, 569, 307, and 89. And the effects background off. We can make it slightly bigger like this. We can also set the color to lighter color as compared to black, and then we can select both of these and group them. We can copy this and paste it here, and this time, and then set the properties here, 45, 397, horizontal could be 1481 and 81. So this is fine. Now we will simply copy it and paste it here and here. So this is done. The last part of the video that we have is the navigation buttons that are going to come on the left hand side of every page. We've got the project board, cost analysis, project timeline, and project manager. So we are going to put the navigation buttons on the first page, and the rest of the 3 pages will be the same as the project board. We will start by inserting the button. We'll bring a blank button here and we will set the dimensions. The dimensions would be 40 to 30, 57, and 296. That is the first button. And then the shape have rounded corners of around 12. For this style, we are going to bring in default. The text would be project board. Font would be 11. Font color, let's put it as white. And the icon type, we can turn it off. And here we are going to bring in the SVG button. So we'll bring it by turning on the fill. We browse and then we go to the folder where we have got it, and it will be, let's say, overview selected. So we can see here transparency would be 0%, image fit, and it looks like we need to resize the button, but let's say if we go to height 41, 42, 3, 4, 5, this looks fine. And then what we are going to do is to turn off the border. So we will turn off the border. Now let me just try it by reducing the size. Okay, so this is fine. It's back to 40, and we just needed to remove the border. And then for the hover, if we go over, we are going to keep it the same. The fill would be like this. That's also fine. And then if we go on press, then it's also fine. The navigation, which is the action, we turn it on and it will be page navigation, and we will keep it as none. So this is the first button. Control C, Control V, we copy it, and then let's say we align it like this. and we bring in the style back to default. This one is going to be project manager. I'm creating the button for the 4th page first, and the font color would be purple, and the fill would be project manager, which would be manager normal, this one, and transparency would be 0. And this action would be that it takes to the project manager page. Control click, we can test it. Yes, it's working. And then we are going to copy it, paste it, and paste it again. Then we select all 4 of these, we align them to the left, and we distribute them vertically. Now let's start from here. So the style here, it would be cost analysis. It remains the same, everything remains the same. And what we need to do here is we bring in the cost analysis, which would be expense normal, and that should be fit as well. Here also this should be fit. So cost analysis, this is fit here, and action, it would be cost analysis. Control click, yeah, this one also works. And then the last one is the project timeline. We go to style, we make it project timeline. We go to timeline, we have normal, this one, and then we set it as fit. The action would be project timeline. And that's it. Once we do a control click, yes, it's working. If we want to enhance the look and feel of the buttons, we can create a hover effect. In case if you want to see the hover effect on cost analysis, we click on the button and then we go to style, we select on hover, and then we go and select a different SVG, for example, expense selected, and then we make it as fit. So once we bring our mouse pointer here, it looks like this. And we also have to change the font color. That should be white. So it looks like this when we bring our mouse pointer here. We can do the same for project timeline. So on hover, it would be white, and here we can see, yeah, it's white. And then we go to project timeline selected, which would be this one. We make it as fit, and now it has this hover effect. And the same would be done for the project manager. We set it as manager, which is this one, and it should be fit. Here it should be white font color. So now we have it like this. Just like we created the buttons on this page, we are going to create the buttons on cost analysis, project timeline, and project manager, and then the report should be completed.